The diagram you see above shows a more formal approach to the DREAD modeling, used in application design. Potential attack paths are presented on a threat tree. Thanks to this, we can follow the attack from the beginning to the end and review its consequences. The example shows that gaining anonymous access to the administrator interface is possible through enabling remote administration or obtaining the administrator's password. The diagram helps us classify the threat in accordance with the DREAD model. After the threat has been assessed, we have to decide how to minimize it. We put the threat value on the chart, such as you can see in the slide. We put the threat value on the y-axis, and we put the resource value on the x-axis. The chart is very important because it shows the risk acceptance curve. Every value under the curve represents an acceptable threat. There's no point in investing money on the prevention of such threats. This is because either the risk or the resource value is very low. With the increase of the resource value, we approach the curve and eventually cross it. High resource value places the threat above the curve, even if the risk value is relatively low. This requires us to take measures to minimize the risk. Creating the risk acceptance curve chart is the last stage of threat modeling. On the chart, we place points that represent individual threats. The chart helps us to decide what we should do next. The first method we could employ is outsourcing. This is a very popular solution which consists in transferring the risk onto somebody else. We're aware of the resource value, but also know that the protection will be so costly or so complicated from the technical side that we're not able to implement it on our own. In such situations, we can hire a web hosting company to manage the database. Or instead of managing a web server independently, we can buy a web space from a hosting company which guarantees the safety of our content. The second solution consists of implementing a protective infrastructure. For example, you could use network auditing software such as an intrusion detection system, IDS, buy an application firewall to protect the server, or you could transfer the server to another subnet and restrict the access to the server by limiting the possibilities of communication with the subnet. Such strategies usually involved ready-made solutions created by companies dealing in IT security. The third option is to create a security policy tailored to our own needs. Initially, it seems to be the most expensive and the most demanding way of increasing the security of the system. This is the way I've been trying to persuade you throughout the seminar. Outsourcing, risk acceptance, or ready-made solutions are not the best answers to the problem. The best way is to implement your own solution, adjusted to the specific needs of your own system. However, if you decide to try outsourcing, I advise you consider a solution that's been very popular recently, namely cloud computing. You can move whole applications or systems to the cloud. Contrary to private clouds, public clouds are in fact computer infrastructures to rent. You don't have to invest in computers, administrators, or programmers. The solution involves low initial costs because, in fact, we only lease all of these. It's an alternative to implementing your own security policy. We are, however, interested in the security level of such a solution. The chart you see above presents a comparison of the security levels of different solutions we've discussed. The first column demonstrates a traditional model in which you manage the infrastructure all by yourself. The elements of the system you're responsible for in this model are highlighted in yellow. These elements include physical protection of the server room, operating system configuration, etc. The last column represents an adjusted model used in the public cloud. The public cloud is in fact 3 distinctive types of cloud computing. You can buy a cloud which consists of infrastructure only, that is, computers with pre-installed operating systems. What you do with them is completely up to you. A basic rule states that the company is only responsible for what's provided. In the case of the IaaS cloud, you're responsible for the security of applications, data, and the environment in which the users work. The second type of cloud computing is called Platform as a Service. In addition to what you get with the IaaS cloud, the PaaS cloud comes with an environment for specific applications. If we buy a PaaS cloud, we're not responsible for the security of that environment. Software as a service is another type of cloud computing. This means that we buy a complex service solution and we are not responsible for any additional details. Google Docs is an example of a SaaS cloud. If we choose the SaaS cloud, we completely transfer the responsibility for the security to the provider of the service. The SaaS cloud, however, is rarely used in companies. In this module, we've discussed how to assess threat risk. We've tried to answer the question, when do you have to take action to counter previously identified risk? I've given you 3 possible solutions to the problem. Ignoring the risk was not included. We can transfer the responsibility to someone else, implement our own solution, or create a security policy tailored to our own needs. Thank you for your attention.